What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another week. So what a week it's been. I've been super busy. It's literally, today is Saturday, it's late morning. I have just come back from Orlando. We had Lawncology this week, and I'll tell you all about that in just a second, but we've also had record highs here in Florida for the last several days, and those record highs, I mean, into the upper 80s, even topping 90 for February. That's super hot for here, and what that's done is it's really kicked the lawn in. It's also kicked in a lot of weeds. One of the things you consider when you get resodded is you're actually ripping everything up, and when you rip everything up, you actually do expose possibly some different weed seeds and things like that that have been buried down deeper, have been pushed down, that your turf's kept out. Those are kind of woken up. They're maybe brought higher up into the soil line where they can get some sunlight, and they start sprouting, and they're very evident here in the front lawn. Here's our first ones to look at. I did some weed ID last week, and you guys really appreciated that, so I think we'll do it again here. And our first one is this. This is cudweed. Now look at how big this got. This was here just before I left for Lawncology, so I let this grow for a while. But look at that stuff. That is just crazy. Check out those roots, John Perry. And then right here's another one very familiar, Carolina geranium. And then one other thing I did want to point out here real quick, a lot of you ask about St. Augustine grass seed, and so there is no viable grass seed. It's all sterile. The only way to get more St. Augustine grass is to propagate it vegetatively. However, your St. Augustine grass will go to seed, and when it does, that's actually a sign of stress. It's a stress response. So some of you might ask, what's the stressor? And the stressor is this massive heat wave that's come on. That's the stressor. So the grass is like, hey, we need to reproduce. Poor St. Aug, it doesn't know that it's sterile. Can you imagine being sterile and not knowing it? Don't worry though, St. Aug, we still love you. Those pretty pink seed stalks. Look at that. It's pretty. Look at this Kalinga. It's nutsedge, but it's Kalinga. Getting a lot of this coming in. I put this in last week's video, but here's what it looks like more mature. Last week, the ones I showed you are what it looks like when it's been cut. This is what it looks like when it's uncut. Also, last week I showed you guys, look, you can see here where I was shooting last week's weed video. This dayflower, this is really becoming more and more of a problem, and the picture I had last week wasn't as good, so you'll be able to see it in here. You can see these purple flowers. So this is definitely something you're mostly going to find here in the south, but it creeps through, and it's got these thick, meaty stems. So this stuff can really get through any turf really well. It just kind of crawls its way through. So pretty cool. But that's dayflower. So the good news is with all these weeds growing, it's going to give me a chance to do a how to spray weeds in your lawn video, and I'm going to do that one next weekend. We're going to use that same sprayer that I showed you how to use for blanket sprays a couple of weeks ago. Link in the description below to that video if you haven't seen it. Next we're going to do post-emergent weed control. I'm going to show you how to spray a lawn for weeds. We'll do some blanket areas, but really we're going to concentrate on zone spraying or even spot spraying, and that's because we practice integrated pest management, which means you only put a chemical out where you need it, and when you do put it out, you put it out with the least possible amount as you can that will still control the pest. I guess that's the best way to say it. Integrated pest management. It's just like optimizing your approach, doing only what you need, no more, no less. Another thing that's happened is I've been not cutting over here at all because I wanted that domination line to show up, which you can see is showing up real well now, but this is actually overgrown. So this gives me an actual chance now to break out my buddy, the Toro Super Recycler. It's the 2018 version, Enjoy a Mow. Give you guys some initial look at the cut quality and things like that. Either way, I'm not sure what else we're going to get into today, but one thing is for sure, I've had an incredible week. So let me go ahead and give you a recap, starting with where I went on Wednesday. So the first thing I did was head over to Sanford, Florida to Sunnyland Corporation because they're the folks that I've partnered with to make my 50-pound bags of Prodiamine granular 0.38%. and that is available, I'm happy to announce, now in my store. If you click the link in the description below, you can pick up the Prodiamine, the very same Prodiamine that I recommend in my Pre-Emergent guide that was sent out last week. So what you're seeing here is when I did my final inspection. Now, one thing I did want to stress here real quick, we actually have 2 warehouses that we're stocking here. One is in Texas and the other is up in the north. So far I've just got the first warehouse stocked, and that's the one that services those of you in the south and in the transition zone. Those of you in the northeast, I'll read the states here. We're gonna ask you to wait just a few days, you're still under snow anyway, until we can stock our northern warehouse. So if you're in Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Vermont, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, we're gonna ask you to wait a few days, so we're not gonna take orders from you yet. We will within a week or so though, probably about the same time we release the new cool season guide and all of that kind of stuff. But for those of you in the south and transition zone, we'll get you shipped out and everything is gonna work well. We're also gonna have to hold off on Washington and Oregon, again, just until we can get that northern warehouse stocked, but everybody else, go for it. Again, I'm sorry if there's any inconvenience there. Again, I always say thanks to those of you that are kind of putting up with me as I kind of grow this business and kind of figure it out. But either way, I'm super excited to be able to offer this to you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys get ready to throw her down. Jake. There he is. What's up, brother? You made it, man. Yeah. We're going right back this way. Awesome. So as far as my recap of Lawncology, it was an incredible time, and I felt really privileged to be able to go. I want to thank the folks from Greene County Fertilizer, John Perry, Deidre, Paul. Thank you so much for allowing us to come out there and be a part of the entire, several days there, and to really network with the professionals. You pro guys that were there, I really respect you, and I learned so much from just talking to you guys and learning things that you work through in your business and some of the things that you're working on, and then also how we overlap and how some of the things that I do can affect you and some of the things that you do can affect me. And I really learned a lot from that and took away from that. And again, the most I got out of it was just a renewed respect for what you guys do day in and day out, for the quality work that you do and for the way that you do it and for the care that you put into it. Of course, if you'd like to see a full recap, Paul Castleberry, who runs the Next DIY Lawn channel, he did a full day-by-day recap. I'll link in the description below to that playlist so you can check that out and catch all those videos. Another rewarding part of the week was getting to hang out with some of my YouTube buddies, some of you guys that I've known for a little while, and some of you that I'm just meeting. It was really great to just hang out and talk about how we all are working together to help build this community, to feed you guys, the information you want, keep you entertained, keep a balance there. It was just really good to kind of network with those guys as well. And I'll link in the description to all their channels because they're all going to be doing recaps of the week that I'm sure that you guys would be really interested in seeing. Another privilege I got this week was to record a podcast with Ryan Knorr. He's got a great podcast where he interviews different people from the lawn care community and segment and that kind of thing, and gets behind the scenes, gets the story behind the story. And we had a really good long 1-hour discussion. I could have gone for 3 hours, but it was really good, and we did that while we were at Lawncology. I'm going to link in the description below to his podcast. I'm not sure when he's going to get that edited, but I'm sure it'll be fairly soon here in the next week or so. So again, Ryan, thank you very much for the privilege of appearing on your podcast, and it was great to hang out with you and Kelsey once again. And then probably my favorite part of the entire week was the final night recap on Friday night when a bunch of you guys came and you got to hang out with us. It was really nice. John Perry and the Greene County guys, they kind of said, let's bring in some of our DIYers from the area and let's let them come in and let's mingle all together. Let's talk, let's do a meetup. But what was really cool was you guys got to really talk to some of the professionals in the room, and some of them got to talk to you guys and share some of the things that you work on there. And I think that was really good to open eyes on both sides, to understand that we're all really working for the same thing here. We're all just kind of approaching it a little bit differently. And then as a part of that, my favorite part was just getting to meet some of you guys that are in the community that I see your names on Facebook and things like that, but to put faces with that and then just talk to you guys and just learn a little bit more about you as people was just so rewarding for me, because you're all just awesome. And every time I meet people, it's the same when we were in New York. Every time we have a meetup, this was our second one, I just meet you guys and just realize how awesome you are. I mean, I know how awesome you are just from seeing you online, but when we make that connection in person, it just really, man, I just love the people that have been attracted to this community. You're awesome. And I wanted to share one story. I won't give the guy's name, but one gentleman shared with me, and this really goes to the heart of what everything we do is he shared with me that he was actually able to quit smoking because of what he does in the lawn. In other words, whatever it was that was giving him the urge to smoke all the time, or you could call it an addiction. When he started working on his grass and just getting into the nature of his grass and growing his lawn, he actually lost the urge and the will to smoke. So he was able to quit smoking by getting out and developing a passion for his lawn. I'm gonna tell you what, that is the kind of thing, we hear stories like that all the time. That is the exact reason that we do what we do. All of it said, dominate your neighbor, mow stripes in your lawn, have a healthy grass, the more you mow, all those things, but deep down inside, at the end of the day, knowing your land is about finding some sort of reward in it that actually improves your life in some way. And that is really what this meetup meant to me, was to hear some stories like that, especially this one. So I really do appreciate you guys more than ever before, and I hope that you can know that, and I hope that my content that I send across to you is equally rewarding to you for what you give back to me and supporting what I do and supporting our community and all of us here on YouTube. Okay, so one of the most frequently asked questions that I get this time of year, it actually relates to pre-emergence. And what that is, Alan, I put my pre-emergent down, whatever, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Whenever you came into the window, you put your pre-emergent down, and now all of a sudden you're like, I got all these weeds. Did it fail? Do I need to reapply? And the answer is no, because in most cases, your pre-emergent didn't fail. It's just that you don't have a proper expectation of what that pre-emergent will do. And so that's what I want to try to answer for you here real quick today. The first thing to realize is that pre-emergents that we put down in the spring, primarily we're trying to prevent crabgrass. Crabgrass is an annual, and crabgrass will germinate when soil temperatures hit 55, it will begin to germinate, and through 70, 75 is the germination window or germination zone for crabgrass. We put a pre-emergent down prior to soil temperatures hitting 55, and that will prevent crabgrass. The thing about crabgrass is, though, if you didn't put down the pre-emergent, you're more than likely not even gonna see it until later in the summer. So you're preventing a future problem. Any weeds that you have now are ones that probably germinated last fall, called winter annuals, and it's too late to prevent those because you have to get a pre-emergent down prior to those germinating. So that could be one of the things you're seeing. A lot of you guys are seeing henbit, chickweed, and poa annua. Those are winter annuals. I have a blog post, if you link in the description below, I have a blog post that I wrote about winter annuals that'll help shed a little bit more light on that, as well as you should get on my weekly newsletter, email newsletter, because I answer a lot of these questions for you in there. That link will also be in the description below. Another thing that might happen, though, is you're getting weeds in the lawn that your pre-emergent is not designed to prevent, because pre-emergents don't prevent every weed. They really, again, as I've mentioned, are really going after your grassy weeds like crabgrass. But you might be getting weeds that are coming in right now like dandelions, and there is no really pre-emergent for dandelions, so those are going to come in anyway. And that's why it's important to identify the weeds that are in your lawn to understand, hey, did my pre-emergent fail? Or maybe my pre-emergent just doesn't even target this weed and I need to hit this with a post-emergent herbicide. A post-emergent herbicide is one that goes after a weed that's already come up, and you go after it reactively rather than proactively or preventative. So if you like this kind of content, please make sure you subscribe to my podcast, because this is what I do there. I answer questions from around the country. It's called Lawns Across America. Click the link in the description below. It's on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and as well as I have it here on YouTube. So one last quick announcement. I have said this, but I'll say it again. If you did not get the updated pre-emergent guide, we sent that out last week. Check your email, check your spam, all that kind of stuff. We sent it out. But if not, we'll make sure to put a link in the description below where you can also pick it up. The pre-emergent guide, again, is really important because it goes right along with the Prodiamine that I sell. But I want to say one thing. You can get any Prodiamine. Prodiamine 0.38% granular is going to work. What matters most about it is that you put the application down properly. That's what means it's going to work. There is no new technology on Prodiamine. If you do a proper application, you're going to get the same results with my product as with anyone else's. And I've gone ahead and made sure to price it competitively, and that price does include shipping. That said, I did promise the warm season guide will be updated. It's done now. We're actually sending it out Monday morning to all of you. So if you've already purchased the warm season guide sometime in the past, the update, which is free to you, is coming out Monday morning. We're going to blast that out to you. You'll see it. It'll come right to the same email that you used when you purchased originally. If you haven't picked up the warm season guide, you've been waiting on it. You've been waiting on the updated version. It is out now. Click the link in the description below. You can pick that up. It's everything you need step by step all throughout the year. And remember, it's a guide to all of my other content. That's really what it's for. It's to guide you through. It's to set a, kind of be like a baseline for all the stuff that I talk about here, because as you know, even with this video here, look at all the different tips that are in this, that if you didn't watch the whole thing, you probably would have missed some things, and that's okay, because that's how I run the channel, and I talk too fast, and I keep things going, and I keep things moving, and I try to keep them entertaining. But for the most part, a lot of you guys, you want some kind of a guide that kind of says, hey, here's where to find everything. That's what my hybrid organic warm season guide does. As well, it gives you a Carbon X plan whenever we get Carbon X out sometime in the next couple weeks, a full liquid plan, a Florida blackout plan, and yes, Bahia. I've got a program in there for you. Even though my Florida Bahia friends have teased me about not giving them enough content, I've made a promise to them that I will continue giving content for Bahia too. With that, I'm Alan, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the lawn.